So imagine this. You're in a portable building, you know, the type with thin walls where the floor shifts beneath your feet when too many people stand at once. Originally, there were 24 of us in this space, all head coaches of men and women's water polo teams across Northern California. Then, the head coaches of the men's water polo teams were asked to leave the room. And with them, the only other coach that I knew. I took a deep breath. This was my first annual meeting, the first time I'd be in a space, in a room, where decisions were being made about the future of our sport and the future of our athletes. But as I looked across the room, I saw something. We were all here for the same reason: to coach, to mentor, to build strong female athletes. But out of the remaining 12 head coaches of the women's water polo teams, only 3 of us were women. The rest, men. This moment stuck with me. I reflected about my past year, my first year as a head coach. I'd built this program, this team, from ground up, reaching out to local athletes, international athletes, and anyone who is willing to take a chance on what we were building at West Valley. I took time getting to know them, understanding their goals, and helping them become better, not just in the pool as players, but outside as people. But being a head coach isn't just about what happens in the game. It's taking the time to get to know the athletes. It's the late night phone calls when they're struggling in class. It's noticing during practice they're not being themselves and asking them, "Are you okay?" Making sure you pull them aside and give them that attention. It's teaching them how to advocate for themselves, how to take up space, and how to believe that they belong, not just in the game, but anywhere they see themselves at. And it worked. In 2017, West Valley's women's water polo team went undefeated in conference and took 3rd in regionals. This was the highest they have ranked in the program's history at this time. So, as the conversation shifted to awards and nominations, I sat back in my seat and I soaked it all in. And I reminded myself that all of my hard work across athletic, academic, and my professional life has earned me a seat at this table. It wasn't just the culmination of a successful season. It was the product of a lifetime of dedication. I love water polo. So I soaked it in. But then, in a moment, in an instant, it was taken from me. A head coach from my conference stood up and accused me of cheating. Cheating. I mean, I'm no stranger to being overlooked, underestimated, and having my seat at the table excluded. Especially as a woman of color, of Native and Chicana descent, and a single mom. This is the norm. But in that meeting, I felt my heart pounding, a fiery heat rising to my cheeks, cheating. So I looked across the room for support, and all I found were other head coaches nodding in agreement. Agreement. Shook with disbelief. I mean, I expected resentment, jealousy, but what I never expected was for them to try to strip me and my athletes of all our hard work with one baseless accusation. And to make matters worse, I had just moved to Northern California with my son, leaving behind my entire support system. Weeks prior to this very meeting, I lost my number one supporter, my dad. I was alone. But then I felt something rise in me, and I knew I needed to stand up and do something. So I stood up, I took a deep breath just like this one, and I grounded my feet. And then I spoke with conviction. And I pointed at the head coach and I said, how dare you accuse me of cheating? You say you can't win because you have women on your team that have never played the sport before and you've had to teach them everything. The same was for me. The difference between you and I is I cared. I put in the time and I never gave up on them. And to those of you nodding in agreement, how dare you? I've helped every single one of you out all season, and I just met you. And I didn't do it for something in return. I did it because that's the type of person I am. A silence fell over the room, and everyone in that room knew I would not shrink. At the conclusion of the meeting, I walked out of this portable building. And I saw the only other coach that I knew. And he said, so how'd it go? And I said, boy, do I have a story to tell you. So I was determined to prove not just to others, but to myself that our success was not a fluke. So I worked harder than ever, not just for me, but for my women. I recruited fiercely, honed in my coaching skills, but most importantly, I showed up with confidence every day. And I made sure my women saw that. And I was honest that they gave me the strength to stand up to anyone who made us feel like we didn't belong. Because we weren't just winning games, we were changing the narrative. Then, in 2021, we made history. I became the first woman of color to lead her women's water polo team to a state championship and win. I remember it like it was yesterday. The buzzard went off and we all jumped in the pool together, celebrating past, present, future athletes, all together in this moment. This girl right here, she didn't even play in the game. She was an alumni, but that's how much this program means to them. They come back. It has a lasting effect. And as I pulled myself out of the water, my Thea runs to me and embraces me. It tells me your dad would be so proud of the strong woman you've become. Because this championship was so much more than a win. It was a statement that women, we belong in sports. That women, we deserve to take up space. But most importantly, that women, we're unstoppable. So I say this to all the women out there that have ever felt overlooked, underestimated, or pushed aside. Keep showing up. Keep pushing forward. And never let anyone make you feel like you don't belong, because you do and you always have. Thank you.